Not even death can save you from me.
What's going on, everybody? In this video, I wanted to address a few issues that I've seen in the community that has to do with the summons not staying alive. I do agree they do need a buff when it comes to staying alive, but I found ways to keep your summons alive, and I'm going to share that with you in this video. Here's 5 tips to keep your summons alive. Tip number 1, I would say you have to absolutely full commit to your summons. And I say full commit because you need to have all your gear synergizing together to make your summons stronger. If you don't do that, your summons are really going to suffer. If you go back to Diablo 2, 60 points were dedicated solely on summon skeleton, skeletal masters, skeletal mage, summon resist. So if you put all that together, that's 60 to 80 points you're using. So they wanted to make that very similar in this game, where you need to full commit to your summons. So everything I have is to make my minions do more damage, and to keep them alive. So tip number 1, full commit to your summons. Coming to tip number 2, you need to prioritize maximum minion life on your gear. Now, when you use your heal, which if you didn't know, after you summon all your minions, your skeletal minions that is, you press your summon skeleton again and it'll summon a skeletal priest that will heal your minions, and it goes off a percentage of their life. So you want your minions life as high as possible. So prioritizing maximum minion life on all the gear you can possibly get it on, it will greatly increase their survivability. When I started prioritizing maximum minion life over my own damage, my own life, even the minions damage, I noticed them staying alive a lot longer. And I will roll footage of them eating countless fire enchanted shots. And I know that's a big one for the community, is dealing with fire enchanted. Tip number 3 is prioritize your defensive nodes for your summons. For right here, I have the armor clad rare node. As soon as I got this board, I came over here because that's when I started noticing my minions really starting to struggle. And on this node, you have minion armor and max minion life, and that's both 2 things that are really gonna make your minions survive a lot longer. All right, tip number 4 is you want to always have your heal going on your summon. And if you look at my triangle ability, when I press it, there's a bar that goes across slowly, and that is your minion heal. It does healing % over time. In your rotation of abilities, you want to make sure you're hitting your triangle or wherever it is, your summon skeletal ability. You want to make sure you're pressing that all throughout the fight and keeping it on cooldown all the time, but it will greatly increase their survivability. That takes us into number 5, our skill tree. Utilizing skills to disorient, stun, and just keep your minions safer is gonna really keep your minions alive, because your minions aren't very smart. They just stand in the worst possible things and they get blown to smithereens. That's really what happens. So having abilities like corpse tendrils, where you can pull the enemies somewhat away or stun the enemies for a few seconds, where it gives your minions time to heal up. Also, ability I like to use is Decrepify, because you get a 20% damage reduction. That is huge. 20% flat damage reduction is huge on keeping your summons alive and you alive. This is a huge ability. A lot of summoners are overlooking it right now. You really need to work this into your build. And last but not least, it comes back to our skeletal mage, or skeletal priest, I should say. Every 5 seconds, your skeletal priest healing will heal your skeletons for an additional 60% of their max life. This comes back to our tip number 4, that bar going across your summon skeleton ability. That is the skeletal priest healing. So with this being maxed and you having that in your rotation, it will keep your minions alive a lot longer. This is kind of tip number 6, but really not, is having minions that actually can kill. So my minions, the majority of my damage comes from my skeletal mages, and you know, with certain procs, they can hit up to about 50k crits. So I can kill stuff relatively quickly for being level 73. If you have minions that just aren't doing any damage, eventually they're gonna die, you know. And if you're not doing any damage, they're gonna die. So having minions that are strong enough to kill things in your difficulty is extremely important, as well as survivability, but prioritize survivability over damage. I hope this video helped you. If it did, help me by giving me a like, and think about subscribing. I post videos every 4 days.